Welcome to the CIT Network. We don't normally give the date that we do these shows, but today is the 28th of September. And I say that for a real particular reason. This week, the brown smelly stuff has hit the fan big time. Kurt, once again, welcome, my friend.
Always a pleasure to be with you, Nigel.
What is your short take on what has happened in Washington?
This week, we have definitive evidence that the President of the United States has intentionally abused the powers of his office to put pressure on a foreign nation that's involved with a foreign adversary to do his bidding to disrupt our 2020 election. That is unsat, and that is totally...
It's totally against the law.
Not only against the law, but it's disgusting and destructive to a democracy. The House Democrats have to do everything they can to lock this down.
It really looks like Adam Schiff has actually, I'll excuse the pun, shifted up a gear.
Yes, yes. I see it in his speech and his intensity, even on his interviews. But that could all be theater. We know of now, the Washington Post have reported on 8 occasions he has talked to the Ukrainian president, which, by the way, isn't the old Ukrainian president who Paul Manafort had helped get elected. It's the new one. His profession was a comedian. That doesn't mean he's stupid or anything like that. But the new Ukrainian president, and I think a picture's worth 1,000 words, when he was in the White House this week, and he's literally just...
Yes.
As this orange tangerine of a baby is babbling on about whatever. I think you and Putin really should talk and get your stuff straightened out.
And wasn't that amazing?
Oh, my goodness. But
2 countries at war, and he makes that statement.
Of course.
I was stunned when I heard that.
Is it his hubris? Is it his ignorance? Is it he's a spoiled little rich baby that has never known when to stop? Does he know what he's doing is illegal? Does he care? Where is it? Because this is so far outside the realm of the Constitution. We're in new territory.
Oh, totally new territory. I mean, I am an American, but I was not born an American.
Right.
I was born a Brit. And I've seen a couple of impeachment hearings, the Nixon, of course, and the Clinton. Mm-hmm. So we only heard it from third party. This seems to be far worse than anything that has happened in my lifetime.
Mm-hmm. The Clinton's impeachment was interesting. I remember bits and pieces, but I've researched it since. It started with a land deal in Arizona, but it morphed into a White House aide. But it was lying to the American public.
But he was lying to the American public.
And you should be. And you should be held accountable for that. This is national security.
Yes.
This is so many times higher. Honey, where'd you go last night? I went to the movies, but you really went to a coffee shop. Versus, honey, where'd you go last night? I was doing something with your sister.
Right.
You know, massive differences. However, after the Clintons' impeachment, they changed the rules of impeachment.
Yes.
So you couldn't twist and wind and wherever the evidence led you.
Right.
A lot of doors were blocked off. That's why Mueller couldn't go into the finances. And now that we're finding out that there are a few things Mueller may have missed.
Or it was hidden from him.
Possibly so.
Which is now looking more and more certain with the revelation that all of this stuff is being put on some secret server.
Right, right. A special access program that presidents can legitimately put information in there if it has to do with national security, plan of attacks on battles and wars and things like that. There is a reason for that, and that's understandable. He was taking his love notes to Kim Jong-un and throwing them in the server, or to his conversations with Putin, with the translator for however many hours.
And the funny thing is that from everything I've heard on television, this is a disconnected server, so it's a standalone server, right? Good move. Mm-hmm. Did they realize that for $1,000 they could have bought a standalone server that wasn't this very, very special server and done exactly the same thing?
Right.
And they now wouldn't be in this furore about what is happening with this server.
But even with that would be illegal because these... I don't care if you like the president or dislike the president. That has nothing to do with it. His words need to be archived for the National Archives. This is how we run our government.
That's how you would have separated secret from, at the end of the day, these will all go to the National Archives.
Okay.
But you stick them all on this secret server, who's going to sit there and start going through all of this stuff?
Right.
And saying, oh, we need that one, we need that one. That's a nightmare.
And that's another thing they were probably counting on.
That could well be true.
But we need access to that. What can be brought out of there needs to be exposed, what was in there,
Yep.
and everything said on them. We need the American people. Come on, guys. Barack Obama was far from the most transparent president of all time. I remember him saying that in Tinley Park, Chicago, Grant Park, Chicago that night when he was elected. I'll
Right.
be the most transparent president ever. He was far from that. I would say he's opaque.
The Justice Department, Barr. What do you think is going to happen to him? I mean, I can see a very grimy future for him, to be honest.
Legitimately, he should be in handcuffs, period, point blank and simple. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. This man has bull-weevilled his way into the inner workings of our government on major different topics throughout the years, since the 70s forward.
Right.
He has interjected his oozy feeling, his ooze onto our democracy and manipulated it many times. With this time, it's so blatant. And I think maybe...
And not once.
Twice. And probably even more than that.
And who knows how many other times.
But the White House intelligence chief brought this whistleblower complaint to the person that was named in there.
I know, that was amazing.
Hey, Nigel, what do you want me to do about this investigation into you?
Why don't we just sort of throw
86
it away?
No
Yeah.
problem. We can't have this. That's why we have our system of government. If the president and the attorney general is mentioned in something, you cannot bring it to them to get their advice.
Right.
You have to go through other channels, and we have those channels. But this person, he's the acting. They're all acting. He's made it intentionally. That's so they don't have to go through Congress. So they can be shadowy puppets, okay, of Donald Trump. This man brought it to the people. What do you want me to do about this, Mr. President and Mr. Barr? And they said, get rid of it. But he didn't do that.
No, he didn't.
He raised flags to Congress.
Right.
Okay, and Adam Schiff and all of them got a hold of it, and then it's blown up into this. But if this person, this acting, and he should not be acting, if he would have done the right, or if he'd have done what his lackeys told him to do, we would never have known about this.
If they had tried to bury it totally, I think the whistleblower would have said, by the way, he'd have made a little phone call and said, this exists. You may want to try and find it.
Right. And another thing I'd like to point out is the Republicans who are stonewalling and dodging, but we are seeing some fatigue cracks, and that's good.
There are cracks appearing.
Cracks turn into sheared off cliffs, so that's good. However, in their meetings, Nunes bringing up just extraneous crap that meant nothing. Democrats wanted Ukraine to get nude photos of Trump. Oh, who wants that? And that's not the point here. They weren't threatening. Okay, they weren't holding back military aid against an adversary of ours, and we can get into that. However, they're stonewalling, they're manipulating their words, as you see on TV. Here's a tip. If you got to hem-haw 1,000 times on a poignant question about the president, you're probably wrong.
Correct.
Okay? You shouldn't have to think that hard about the truth. However, if they get past the House, I don't see how they can stop it. The evidence will be there. We're going to see this on TV. So there is a chance that the whole thing could shear off.
I am still confused on whether Moscow Mitch can actually flatten this before it actually goes to the Senate, because I have heard some commentators have said there is no way that he can. They have to go for a vote, and other commentators said he could.
Of course.
And do you have any feelings about this?
We are going to see how powerful his Grim Reaper staff is. Because he called himself the Grim Reaper.
No, I mean, he has been tap dancing for the last 4 days. And except for the statement he made 4 days ago, he has been very quiet about all of this.
And another person who's been quiet against the 2 or 3 Republicans that have flipped in the House for impeachment, Twitter thumbs hasn't been insulting them.
That's correct. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when this does all go through to the Senate, because it is all going through to the Senate.
It will get to the Senate. I don't know if they'll have a vote on it. We'll see what Mitch can do.
I don't think he would dare take that risk, to be honest. Also, of
knows?
course, what we don't know is what's happening with public opinion.
Right. We haven't any polls yet on
And
it.
at the moment, yes, no, we have.
Oh, we do? Okay.
We have. And it's doing this. Actually, I'll do that for the camera. It's going up. The polls are
good.
going up.
Good. We need
Okay.
60% minimum.
And I think we're going to reach it.
Okay.
And of course, with what's happening in Fox News, which are in total turmoil at the moment from everything that we're hearing being reported from internally in Fox News, when they start talking, if they decide that they're actually going to become a news organisation, and if they decide they're actually going to tell 100% of the truth, 30% of this country is all of a sudden going to hear the truth.
Yeah.
From the one news organisation that they
watch.
tune into.
That can be very scary. Rush Limbaugh was quoted yesterday in saying, "The Civil War has started. It is not hot yet, but it's warming up." They have programmed these people over the last 30 years of hate radio and hate TV to get ready for this. Alex Jones and Rush Limbaugh and the folks like this, they have been ready for this. And then you take a bigot, a xenophobe, a religious zealot, all this, but a racist. The list is long but distinguished. And what he did in the 2015-2016 election, he threw an energy grenade into the KKK, into the neo-Nazis, to get them out of their holes, and they are out.
Right.
And now their president's going to be taken away. I've always said this. The next time the American people are truly in the streets, they wanted you in the streets.
Yes. Where do you think Newsmax
Newsmax
is going to fit in?
Newsmax was a watered-down Fox Noise that started probably 10, 15 years ago.
Right.
Started just small little things, and they have grown their power.
Because they're now advertising
Absolutely.
a lot.
Oh, yes. Almost every... I'm clicking on Tom Hartman, and I'm seeing a Newsmax commercial before Tom Hartman. So they're trying to gain that power. They do maybe see a shifting of the power there. But staying back on the subject, Newsmax, Fox News, Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, all these people, they are part of a cabal to protect this president.
Though again, we're hearing cracks
Yes.
that maybe people like Sean Hannity is now beginning to backpedal a little bit.
Well, he should. He was sharing lawyers at one time.
That's correct. I mean, it's absolutely amazing what's going on here. And of course, what I find strange about Newsmax is they're basically using exactly the same tag words that Fox News used all those years ago when they first started up. Balanced.
The way I see the difference, because we're definitely not suggesting that the other media channels are just great and awesome, because they're not. This may be insulting to some people, but in order to excite the right when Obama was president, all they needed was, he wasn't born in America. Boom.
Boom.
That's all it took to excite them for 8 years.
Yep.
On the left, when Trump gets elected, we have to have an entire massive, huge theater of something that happened to get us excited.
Yeah.
So I think it's the intelligence of it. So Fox News and Newsmax, they use the buzzwords, keywords all the time, to where the liberal side of the media has to use a little more advanced language.
Right.
To get us excited.
It's going to be interesting to see which cracks appear first, because the cracks are appearing in the Republican Party, the cracks are appearing in the Fox Party, and I'm wondering what is powering what. Is it the Republican Party with the cracks making Fox News think, or is it Fox News making the Republicans think? It's going to be interesting to see.
That's some political algebra that I haven't worked out yet.
It's one of those.
It's a great question.
We'll never know.
It's a great question.
Let's quickly get through all these things that we want to talk
right.
about, because we don't want this to be too long. So now we're in a situation where every country in the world knows America is for sale.
Yes, they do.
All I have to do is call Trumpy and
book some hotels.
Book some hotel rooms, stay and play golf in Scotland, and, well, Trumpy, what can I do for you and what can you do for me?
Reagan did it secretly. No one knew about it besides the really in-depth political people. My dad was one of them screaming about it, but nobody wanted to listen back then.
Right.
Now we have the man right out in the open. I guarantee you, I would love for someone try to punk Donald Trump as a foreign leader and see what he can get him to admit to on tape.
Yeah.
Because it'd be scary.
Well, you see,
but you're right, that's all it takes to book a floor of your hotel rooms. Oh, you get a U.S. government contract.
That's right. Or book it for a Christmas party.
Exactly. And you get national secrets, maybe.
Yeah.
As he stands in the Oval Office, we know now, with the Russian Kislyak and a few others and says, I'm not really concerned about you meddling in our election. We've done it to plenty of nations.
Right. The day after he fired Comey.
Wow.
The day after.
You remember that time?
Unfriggin' believable.
You remember that time when FDR and Hirohito were in the Oval Office, and FDR said to Hirohito, I know you beat us up before, but you know what might help me in the next election? So you could hit us again at Pearl Harbor. No big deal. You remember that meeting? No, you don't, because it didn't happen.
Because it never happened.
To the viewers of watching this, we are in uncharted territories here.
Oh, we're in the middle of a hurricane and we don't know where it's going. We've got no clue where it's going. As
I was talking to a good friend today, this is when a nation splits apart. And you said a number earlier, very poignant number to this, 30%.
Yes.
You start getting nations around a 33 split, that's when civil wars happen.
That's right.
They've happened throughout histories. And you have to, because even our own Civil War, it was about 33 cared, 33 didn't give a shit, 33 was fighting against the 33 that cared.
Yeah.
And that's where we're getting right now. And with the media spin and the propaganda, who knows where this could lead out?
Very, very true.
Who knows?
I'm beginning to wonder what's going to happen within the Republican Party, and I'm beginning to wonder whether they're going to go through some real wholesale changes.
Right.
I don't know whether they will or they won't. The good news about all of this for the Democrats is that they have got so many clips of these people over the last 3 years that they don't have to spend any money putting together campaign adverts.
The campaigns write themselves.
They've got everything they need to make the Republican Party look stupid with the way things are going at the moment. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens within the Republican Party. I'm hoping that they go back to the Republican Party that used to be.
I'd vote for a Republican under the 1956 convention declaration. Minimum wage, health care, 40-hour work week. It was in the Republican platform. I'd go back to that Republican Party, but we don't have that.
We don't have that anymore.
But you're right. They're going to need a massive autopsy after this. And I hate to say this, I'm not trying to be provocative, if we have political parties.
That is true.
Because we of course, we have to talk, but let's talk back about Bill Barr for a second, because he's such a troll. He truly needs to be held accountable, but will he, Nigel? Will he? Do you think there's a chance in heck?
I think a lot will depend on what happens with people turning up for Adam Schiff's hearings.
Okay.
We know that the public, us, will never ever hear anything from the whistleblower themselves.
Well, we have laws to protect the whistleblower.
Because we have lots of laws in place to protect that whistleblower and keep them totally anonymous. It's a really good thing.
Well, especially when you have a president of the United States saying, you know what we used to do to these people back in the day when we were smart, to which you've never been smart. We used to treat these spies a lot different. He's not a spy. He's a U.S. government employee, and he's a whistleblower.
Right.
He's threatening a whistleblower's life in a private meeting at the UN.
Yes.
To be a fly inside another leader's head for a second.
Yeah. That's interesting you should say that. When are these people going to realise that nothing is private?
Nothing. Oh, yeah, nothing.
Don't they understand that everyone has a cell phone? Everyone can hold the cell phone up and record you.
Exactly.
Which is exactly what happened at the UN.
He's threatening whistleblowers' lives. We should kill them.
Yeah.
He didn't say that because Trump never says it explicitly.
Well,
he's too good of a mafia boss.
That's correct. That's correct. As his ex-lawyer said, he speaks in code.
All the time.
All the time.
Of
and
course.
You've got to understand the code to work out exactly what he means. Fortunately, the code is so friggin' simple.
It is relatively simple.
That anyone can work it out if they wish to.
Exactly. But do we have people that wish to?
That's right.
Who is William Barr put into places underneath him? All these federal judges that Trump has packed the courts with, because they wouldn't seat judges when Obama was president. So he gets to pack the courts with these hardcore, some of them not even attorney, federal judges.
That's correct.
So how much damage have they done?
That's correct.
Will we ever know?
Let's go through this really quickly. Treason.
Yes.
I've heard people say that his acts are treasonous. I've heard other people say, well, you can't really call it treason because we're not at war. What's your feeling
All
about
right.
treason?
Well, first on Fox News was calling for Julian Assange charge of treason. He's not an American, and we're not at war in Sweden, so he couldn't be charged with treason.
Correct.
You have to be at war with a nation giving aid.
He's Australian, by the way.
Australia, I apologize. I thought he was Swedish. I apologize.
Yeah.
For one to commit treason, for a soldier to commit treason, I have to give aid and comfort to someone I am at odds with.
Right.
So we are an ally, for good or for worse, for good or better. We are an ally with Ukraine. We have been giving hundreds of millions of dollars of military aid to stave off the Russian bear.
Yep.
They are at war with Russia. He just gave aid and comfort to their enemy,
Right.
to which we are linked with them. I believe there is a vehicle for treason.
For treason. Would you like to know what was in that telephone call between Trump and Putin, that somehow there were no notes? There was, in fact, no call for anything to do with that meeting. No one knows what was said.
I imagine it's in the secret server that they stuck everything else with, but absolutely. Several hours behind closed doors with just an interpreter and two presidents. We have no idea what was said. Why hasn't Congress subpoenaed this interpreter before? This was two and a half years ago now.
That's right.
We don't even know their identity. We know nothing about this person. But we need to know this information, so how's it going to get to us?
That's true.
It needs to be subpoenaed. Adam Schiff, once he starts bringing a racketeering row of subpoenas, then we know they're doing something. But until we hear people talking, I honestly think this is just more puff and smoke. Did it happen? Yes. How they handle it, are they handling it for a real reason, or are they handling it for theater? Mm-hmm. And that's a huge question.
Here we are, 28th of September. I'm going to make a prediction.
Okay.
My prediction is Trump will resign before Christmas. What would be your prediction?
You got to take my prediction?
Oh, but that would be your prediction?
Trump, I believe he'll be stepping down. He's going to do the same cowardly move Richard Nixon did when the Grim Reaper and the boys go to the White House. Look, you get out of here, or we're going to have to impeach you.
Right.
I think he's going to take the chicken way out. His bone spurs will act up, and he'll have to run.
That's
Because you know he can't fight.
Well, no, obviously not. You know, those bone spurs have really caused him a lot of grief over the years. You can tell that just by the way he plays golf.
Absolutely. Donald Trump is a menace to not only America, but also the world order.
Correct.
And I'm not saying new world order. I'm just saying how the world functions. When the empire is disheveled.
Yes.
Think of it as your home. If Dad comes home and he used to be a level-headed, nice guy, but for the next 2 months, he is completely off the wall, it's going to disrupt the home.
Right.
Same thing happens with an empire.
Kurt, once again,
it's always good,
thank you
Nigel.
so
It
much
really
for
is.
coming into the CIT network to talk politics like this. I find it refreshing, and I love the way you think.
Well, we're only trying to save the world, Nigel.
That's true. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining the CIT network. I hope you found this a little informative. Check, check, check. Read the news, look at the news. Don't just look at one channel. Look at all of the channels. Flip through them, see what they're saying. You might actually get to the truth. Thank you.